So how much of this is being recorded?
All of it.
All of it.
Oh, of course.
Oh, hey John, I didn't realize you were here.
I noticed he was here.
Yeah.
Johnny B.
By the way, just ignore Stonemare. He's seriously just a disingenuous troll.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
learning
my.
that. I also got replies from Koretsky telling me the same thing, as well as like 3 other anonymous posters on Twitter accounts.
Yeah.
So,
Alright, it's fixed.
Like, some of these people just started trolling because of Gamergate. This guy's been trolling for years and years. He's basically the male version of Randy Harper.
Have you ever screwed around with Anonymous?
Anonymous. We are Legion.
Yeah.
No, it's supposed to be We Are Region. That's something. I forget it.
If he does, that would be awesome.
in any
What do you
case,
talk about?
you guys had questions?
Legion tags
absolutely.
are awesome.
I'll let the others speak first.
Okay,
How
you
do
go
you
first.
feel about going to SPJ?
Me personally,
Yes.
I'm excited and enthused for the event in like a general manner, in the sense that we're finally having the discussion we should have had about like
Right.
a year ago. But from the perspective of actually trying to run the thing, if you've ever done event coordination, it's just a shit show in the sense that you're always worried something's going to go wrong. It's
Right.
like an irrational fear in the sense that you know everything's going to go right because you're good at your job, but at the same time, you're still afraid of this or that.
Okay.
That's not an uncommon sentiment from event coordinators and things like that.
Alright. How much do you hate anti-GG people?
I don't hate them, I just think...
They're
Oh,
stupid?
come on. Be honest.
Apparently I'm not speaking, my mic
No,
cut out. I
okay.
think some of them are uninformed about what they're talking about, and others do legitimately have ulterior motives, but there's a outside of the like die in the womb radicals, you have the
Right.
people who can actually be reasoned with and can be
Okay.
shown that like. And here's the thing about people who don't agree with me politically or religiously. I don't
Okay.
care what your thoughts are at the end of the day, as long as those thoughts don't hurt anybody at the end of the day,
Uh-huh.
and that at the end of the day you can still accept me as a friend and we can go have a beer afterwards, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Alright. Yeah. Okay. So, are you aware that, people are trying to crowdfund, an anti-GG person to represent anti-GG at the SPJ Airplay event?
I'm aware that there are talks of crowdfunding on...
Right. So, how would you feel if we decided to open up a GoFundMe in your name and had you represent anti-GG people, and then during the middle of the debate, you switch positions to switch over to Gamergate?
I can't believe you actually asked him this.
Just curious.
So,
'cause we're
first of
working on
all,
something.
I'm not speaking at all. Second of all, please don't open anything in my name, or I will take legal action.
Right.
Third of all, if anti-GG does make it there in any capacity, we will be handling that ourselves. We don't want any third parties outside of the committee or the Society of Professional Journalists involved in that. As you do understand, it is our event, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So the project is not existent, right? It's
No,
bad, right?
no, I don't care. So you don't want to do it. Okay.
Yeah,
I
basically...
mean, if AGG wants to speak with us and set up a crowdfunding thing, that's
Yeah,
fine. But we
no.
want it to happen through us. We don't want any third parties involved. I'm sorry
Why
about
not?
that.
What do you mean a third party?
If you guys wanted to try and set things up through AGG, unless you guys are literally going to be the ones representing AGG, we don't want you to be the ones taking their funds or managing them. in the same sense that Koretsky arranged a committee to directly.
Blah 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 blah
yes,
blah
yes,
blah.
blah,
I'm
blah,
really
blah,
disappointed
Shut
at that
up.
committee, by the way. If you read the article I wrote.
Yeah, I read some of it.
The main things I have a problem with are those. There's not even minor conflicts of interest. There are some major conflicts of interest Alum Bakari and Milo have set up for themselves. Like, if you're going to decide things objectively, you shouldn't be advocating for one of your friends to speak at the panel. And even though they set up an opinion poll for Milo, it doesn't avoid the conflict of interest because the committee advocated for him full on and gave him credence over anyone else. So even though they did have community input, it's still a conflict of interest. And then there's the fact that Lou Bakari decided to volunteer himself in after William Usher was put in. I mean, to William Usher's credit, at least he didn't want a position, and at the end of the day, he decided to recuse himself, which I highlight in the article. But those two conflicts of interest, yeah, no.
So what happens if an anti-GGer shows up at your stupid little thing without your permission?
They won't be heard because they had to come through us beforehand because we run a professional thing here.
Oh.
You rigged
Wow.
the game.
What a rigged game. What do you mean they won't be heard? Can't they hear their voices? Like when they come in?
I mean, if
They can
you
hear
want
their
to
voices, right?
if you want to run into the auditorium and start shouting, I think you'll be tackled by like 20 cops. But if you want to try it, because I'm running security for the event, I'm just gonna say it now. Any disruptions, like bomb threats, fire alarms being pulled, protesting outside, I'm not dealing with that shit.
Yeah, that's exactly
not
what we're
how I
talking about.
Yeah, I'm not dealing with that shit at all.
No,
Having that
dude.
shit
I don't blame
stamped
you.
out.
Oh yeah, of course. You wanna have zero tolerance for that stuff, but we're not talking about doing any of that shit. That's retarded.
But if we were to
Like
line it up,
Bacon's. No, basically explain Bacon's idea. His idea was basically to set up a crowdfunding campaign to get somebody. Like, he advocated I'd go, but I really couldn't do that because...
Not the Elfwick style.
Basically, yeah. Send someone there in Devil's Advocate to basically represent AGG.
As soon as we get people who claim AGG and are willing to represent that side, and we can have them vetted, we'll set up whatever funding they need to get there, and we'll see them there.
By any chance, like, I think, like, several weeks ago when they were talking about, like, well, how are we going to get AGG? I, like, talked about Against Gamergate. Did anyone check out that board?
Yeah, I hosted a Q&A there, and it turned quickly into a shitfest, and I just sort of abandoned that thread.
So none of them were on the free trip to Miami?
No, evidently none of them wanted a free trip to Miami, or at least not in the sense that they were the interesting thing about that thread in particular is that I posted it, and literally 2 minutes later, I got about 700 responses, and most of them were in comment to another response. If you get what I'm saying, like, it was just the longest convoluted spaghetti chain I've ever fucking seen in my life. And I don't use Reddit to begin with, so maybe it's the fact that I didn't understand the interface at the time, and also the fact that I personally hold my own reservations about Reddit, but...
The thing about Against Gamergate is they're just a less hugboxy version of Ghazi. I emphasize less hugboxy version of Ghazi. They're an offshoot of them because Ghazi was like, either we apply all these hugboxy rules to all, or just our correct side. Their position is, we only apply our rules of like online etiquette and other nonsense like that to anti-social justice type people.
All right.
So that's the experience you got there.
So, John Smith, so if we find an anti-GG person to represent anti-GG, you're willing to help channel that through for us, right? Just as you said.
If you guys found an AGG person?
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is, Koretsky's tried to put up a committee on their side, and not only that, but he's also been in direct email contact with games journalists on their side, people like Totillo, big names. He's unanimously gotten declines from every single one of them.
So
and
what
the
if
only
we
one
do find one?
I doubt you're going to, and if you do, then just route them to us rather than manage things yourself.
All right. Well, when we get one, we'll send one your way, and we'll get it all set up.
If they seem like a legitimate vetted person who has something
Now,
to do
what
with...
makes it legitimate? If they're willing to be anti-GG, doesn't that stand for legitimacy enough? I mean, where do you have to go? Go through all their fucking history?
In a sense, yeah, these people have to have some involvement with
Did you do that with these Gamergate people? Even through Oliver Campbell's social justice warrior bullshit?
Yeah, I think that got brought up in one of the discussions in an email. Milo even had reservations about that, but he's still coming because he's still a valuable voice on the Gamergate side.
Sure, okay. But if we did bring in some anti-GG people, you would take them and analyze them.
If they were legitimate names that have a history
What's a
of being
legitimate
involved...
name? Just
somebody
first and
who
last
has
name?
Somebody who has a history of being involved with Gamergate, not a name in the literal sense of this
Do they have to
person
have a
last name
certain
is-
amount of following?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
How do you prove how long you've been involved with Gamergate? It doesn't really make any sense to me.
If there's an online history of you discussing it or having articles on it, or
Articles?
even if you're not necessarily the one writing them, but you're mentioned in them, or you've done something involved with the controversy, it's pretty easy to say you're... It's
right.
clearly evident when you take an egg account and put them up against somebody like Oliver Campbell, who's been tweeting about it for the last 11 months. You understand?
Tell me about it. Also,
Right.
by the way, we discovered that Oliver Campbell could have easily fit the bill for that cost for that trip, just so you know. Another reason why I'm disappointed by this crowdfunding initiative.
I'm also
And then-
curious why you guys never brought in Thidrin. What the hell, man?
So the story with crowdfunding is that
Yeah.
pretty much from the beginning that we had mentioned there would be some element of crowdfunding, mostly because the SPJ isn't a very profitable organization. It's a non-profit, and if they
Just to
were
interrupt
to-
briefly,
What?
keep in mind that nonprofits are typically in name only. Nonprofits tend to make a lot of money, and they get away with it for tax reasons.
Yeah.
Go on.
In any case, they weren't willing to foot the bill for. Okay, they were willing to put $100 forward for each of our speakers, and they're putting the bill forward for Ren LaForme and what's her name, Len, the other journalistic speaker. There's also a neutral developer who's going to be attending, and we're footing the SPJ is footing the bill for him. But because we have the number of speakers on our side, and we had mentioned the crowdfunding from the beginning, even though they're putting $100 toward each speaker, they still said that they weren't going to foot the complete bill. The speakers could have fitted their own bill, but in the same sense, we want you to pay your own way to come to this is kind of the same argument AGG is putting forward, like, oh, why do we have to pay our own way to come there, when from the beginning we've said we'd foot the bill for them, but they're late at this point because they haven't decided to come up until we've already said, all right, it's over, they can't come anymore because it's too late. You know what I mean? So, the crowdfunding was in a sense to allow the speakers not to get fucked in this, if you know what I mean. So they don't have to foot the bill themselves. It's exactly what AGG is asking for and what we were going to provide them. So instead of us fitting the bill, crowdsourcing fit the bill, which came out of the pockets of everybody else. So if you trusted that speaker, even if you didn't necessarily trust the event, you wanted to make sure that person who you recognized was a good speaker would come.
The fucking politician got it.
Yeah, I got an issue with that as well. It's like,
What is that snake sound effect?
Yeah, that's my phone going off. That's the Twitter notifications I get.
Oh. Yeah, I've been like, tell me about, like, people have flipped their shit over a lot of stuff. Like, I'm fine with people being mad at me and ripping into me, but, like, geez, like, some of the stuff I've been getting, like, someone accused me of, like, oh, well, you're anti-Gamergate now. And I'm like, no. I just don't agree on this issue. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The thing I don't like about the crowdfunding stuff is it's basically, it's the whole personal power thing, and basically what they're asking, like, I know that basically the only one that I could give, say, might the only one that I would give leniency to is Mark Seb, because I know as a YouTuber you're not going to make a lot of money, so in his case, like, I'm not going to really just come down on him. But in the cases of Oliver and Christina Hoff Summers and Kathy Young, I know they travel a lot. It's like Oliver Campbell, I know, makes a lot of money off of his book, The Rabbit in the Road, like more substantial than you think. And $1,000 isn't going to be much. And Kathy Young and Christina Hoff Summers, they do this for a living. It's not something that they need to basically get extra funds for. They should have $400, $500 to, like, come to the event. I mean, it doesn't really make sense that basically people are being asked to pay for the sake of what is ostensibly political action, like, money from their pockets. And, like, well, I don't know how. I haven't actually taken a look at how much money everyone donated. Like, I don't know. Maybe for all I know, an angel came in and just dumped a truckload of money for everything. So it's not as bad.
We did have
but, like,
a few $100 donations from some people. Yes.
Right.
Okay,
But,
hold up
like,
one moment. Hold up one moment. Okay, so this is important. A woman in blue, she said that she heard you.
Oh?
Yeah, that's it.
What? That's what you said?
Yep.
Oy vey.
Oy vey.
Don't
worry about it. It's nothing. Stupid.
It's
and
some joking you're doing.
Basically, I was reading one of her articles that I thought was dumb, and what this asshole here did was I asked him to invite her in, but what he didn't tell me was that, oh, John Kelly's talking shit about you. It's stupid.
It was
Anyway. Anyway, yeah, I don't like the whole personal power thing that's been going on with the Airplay event. It's like the more personal power you give to people, the more ego gets in the way, and the more it pushes fracture points. That's why I'm really upset by the crowdfunding.
I think it's really ironic that you're talking fracture points.
Well, you can find ironic that I'm talking fracture points, but I think that people have, like, I've brought it to people's attention that it's a trap before, like, months ago, and people were like, so what if it's a trap? We'll just go there anyway. I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. And then as time went on, I realized how dumb that was, and I should have put my foot down and said, no, we should just say no. And the reason why we should say no is because this is just Gamer 2.0.
You guys should calm it down. This fucking stream runs 24/7, so you guys don't necessarily have to, like, make paragraphs for each other.
No, I'm ready to be completely misquoted and taken out of context, and for there to be an amazing shitstorm out of this. Don't worry.
I wouldn't worry about it, because you know what? There's been several opportunities for lots of people to have that done to them, and I'm surprised that whether it's people with personal axe to grind or ideological differences or what else is there, or whatever reason someone has against someone else, that has only been done seldomly. I think maybe it's been done to Monday Matt, it's been done to Man Green, it's been done to King of Pole, I think. It's been done to a few people, but not that many, so I really wouldn't worry about it. And also, I wouldn't emphasize or highlight it, because you tell someone not to do something, it makes them more likely to do it. Me, personally, I think that's completely disingenuous, and I wouldn't do that. As for me pushing fracture points, no, I'm not pushing fracture points, at least not intentionally anyway. I'm someone who doesn't believe in the whole keeping up with appearances thing, and I have no problem telling someone that they're wrong to their face and disagreeing with them.
Yeah, I mean, you just pissed off a woman in blue.
Yeah.
So moldy bars and dry bones are probably going to be here in a minute, and that'll be important.
Moldy bones.
there's a possibility that they could be representing anti-GG.
Oh God, this is gonna get real.
Possibility who might be representing AGG now?
Dry bones or moldy bars.
They've been very critical of Gamergate for a while now, actually.
Yes, they
Both
have
of them
been.
in their own way. Yeah.
And then another person we could get is S4T.
Oh my gosh. Man.
I'm waiting for him to reply.
He's gonna bomb it.
And they've all been critical. They've always saying that Gamergate got cut. That's also critical
No,
of
that's
Gamergate.
no, that's only Seattle for Truth.
I know. That's what I said. Seattle for Truth is critical, and now I remember that quote for him. He says, Moldabar says case. I don't know how I can find people, but you guys just can't seem to find anybody.
I just don't know them.
Yeah, I guess you just don't know people well enough. I guess, yeah, so sometime today they'll be in here, and then if John, you want to leave, that's okay. And then we can reconnect again.
I'll be busy today because I'll be filming,
Yeah.
as I was yesterday.
Yeah, we'll talk to them, and then if they're willing to
Where do you
do
film
it, we'll connect back to you, John.
Gotcha. John, before you go, what are you filming?
Separate thing from what I was filming yesterday.
Oh, that's cool. What are you filming exactly? Do you film in action or what?
So, yesterday we were filming a thriller called The Crystal Clock, which was something a
Fucking
friend
cool.
of mine was working on since probably the beginning of the last school year. And then
Is it going to be on Vimeo?
it'll probably be on YouTube. And then what I'm
You should
filming
do it on
today,
Vimeo too.
maybe. What I'm doing today is a short film called Return to Sender, which is the story of a crazy homeless man who stabs his brother at the end of it. It's gonna be weird, but it's great.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
Hold on, he's saying something.
Yeah. Drybone says, now I'm A-team. Now I'm anti-GG. And I said, yeah, join the mumble so we can set things up.
Nice.
I've got shit to do, so I'm just gonna leave. But
All right, dude.
All right,
See
dude, we'll
you
set
later,
things up for
bye.
you, buddy. And we'll get,
We'll talk to you later.
Yep.
no,
Talk to you later.
I'm sure.
All right.
Hey.
Don't start. God
I
dang
was
it.
like, I was playing Ace Combat, but from the mic, I could straight up here. I will sue you, more or less.